decolonized education that teach Africans to be proud of themselves and not Africans who worship borders and say they hate colonialism and apartheid, but love borders which were brought to us by colonizers, and argue about borders as if there is a country in the world that succeeded economically because it had a fence.
This is the journey to one Africa.
Let's go and get every child to school. When we say education must be free, Minister Lindiwe Zulu, it's because if you guys had given us free education in 1994, we're not going to need RDP houses. We're going to build our own houses because we are educated. We need free. Why free education? Because Verwoerd said, why do you give an African child mathematics? What is an African child going to do with mathematics? So 1994 should have meant everything else that were denied must be given to our people. They said you can't be taught mathematics because mathematics comes with high positions, and high positions were reserved for white people. That's why they said, what are they going to do with mathematics? We need to go back and invest in education and liberate the mind of an African child, decolonize education that teach Africans to be proud of themselves and not Africans who worship borders and say they hate colonialism and apartheid, but love borders which were brought to us by colonizers, and argue about borders as if there is a country in the world that succeeded economically because it had a fence. That fence is equal to success. In your home, you've got a fence and you are poor. Why is the fence not helping you at home if fence means success? Why are we obsessed with hating each other as Africans instead of working together? There are so many opportunities all over Africa which you deny yourself because of the fence. And you know the fence, Southern Africa, is some madness. Because really there is no fence, but there is a gate. Have you ever seen a person with a yard putting a gate but there is no fence? And every time when he enters that yard, he opens the gate and even lock it. That's us. There's no fence in Lesotho. There's no fence in Zimbabwe. But we keep on wanting to believe on non-existing things. Hate me for what you want. I will never preach the division of African people. If it's going to cost me vote, let it be, because I will never be voted for by xenophobic individuals. Someone stood up in a meeting I was speaking and he said, they took our jobs. I said, after the meeting, come to me. Let's go fetch the job that they took from you. The person has never worked in his entire life, but they took his job. You don't have jobs because the economy is not growing. Not because Zimbabweans are here. Once they tell you the economy is not growing, then you must know there will never be jobs. The growing economy shows itself through the creation of jobs. Don't listen to the story of Zimbabweans and Lesotho. Just look at the economic indicators as to whether our economy is growing or not. And if they say we are not growing, then you should know we are going to be in a crisis of jobs. You know, I have got a big problem and I don't understand why you guys don't have that big problem. When we grew up, I grew up in Seshego in a township. There used to be by courts where people sat. we don't want matchbox houses. We want better houses. In Soweto and everywhere else in Umlazi, we want better houses. Where did we get the concept of better houses? We looked at the houses that Afrikaner government was giving to the poor Afrikaners. And we said, if we are poor, we must get something like this or even better than this. Show me in the Oxford Dictionary, VC of UNISA, where they say a house is a house without a flushing toilet. It's a house with a toilet. If it doesn't have a flushing toilet, it's a glorified mukuku. Because only mukuku can be built without a toilet. I've never walked into any mukuku where they say there is an in-suit. They turn the corrugated iron into some cement and bricks, but this is still the same thing. And we are made to celebrate that which we said we'll never accept from apartheid. And not only that, the apartheid houses are still standing today. And these ones that they call the RDP houses of 30 years ago have collapsed. If you are like yours is not collapsed, it has got a huge crack inside. I'm not saying apartheid houses were better. But I came here with Collins Forum. And if a stranger was to clap me here, now, I mean, me and Collins Forum were going to team together and fight this stranger which clapped me. But if I were to be clapped by Collins Forum, it's going to be more painful than that which was done to me by the stranger, but the act is the same. But because it's done by a person you came with, the person who knows your pain, the person who knows your suffering, why can't they do better? Because they know our conditions, they don't have to read about it. And that's why Collins houses are a cause for celebration. Because he doesn't build these houses of theirs. And when you pledge here, you must never think you are going to do those RDP houses in the name of Colin Mashawan Foundation. A house must have corners, jige so ibe so. Ibe le passage. Ibe le dining, ibe le lounge, ibe le kitchen, ibe le flushing toilet. Not toilet outside. When you go to a toilet, it's like you are taking a tourism act. You are touring to the toilet. But how do you say we are human beings and you want to make us human beings and you give us houses in the bushes without toilets and flushing toilets? That which differentiates us as animals between ordinary animals and human beings is because we have flushing toilets. Only other animals must drop it and still see it. We don't have to see it. Anyone who gives us those types of toilets is perpetuating our indignity. There's no dignity where there is no flushing toilet. So, Mashawan, we are happy that you are building houses that restore the dignity of our people. Bana ba ba robetše go ditlapo mola bo foromo le bo SNOA-F. When their friends accompany them home tomorrow, they must not say, drop me at the corner, because they are ashamed of their house. You must build them such a beautiful house that even when their friends want to drop them at home, they say, drop me at the gate, because that house has restored their dignity. Because the purpose of giving people houses is to restore their dignity. Where is dignity without a flushing toilet? Why does your school in the Eastern Cape, where you were a successful businessman who comes and stand here in front of us and pledge, your school has got pit toilets? What have you done about it? We need to declare a toilet revolution. That every household must have a flushing toilet to restore the dignity of our people. So, please, my brother, continue to build as many as you can. Do not overstretch yourself and even take where it is not available, because you put yourself under too much pressure. Do it because there is availability and you can help. You can't help with that which you don't have. And those that came to speak and said they're in partnership with you and all of that, this is a businessman worth supporting. Because when you give him business, it's not for him and his family and his mother and his wife only. It's for them too. Because you are not going to build us houses if your mother stays in a shack. You're not going to give us food parcels if your mother is sleeping with an empty stomach. You're going to take care of her and your wife and your children, then take care of us. Because it's important to establish that family unit in order to build a responsible society. So please, let's go and invest massively in education. I see houses, I see all of that. I want us to spend money on education. I want us to identify, all of us here, children who have nothing to do with us, and say, this one, I'm going to take to school until she graduates and hire her in my firm because I'm a business person. You give them education, you give them permanent solution to poverty and inequality. Without education, all of this is artificial intervention. My last point, please, we ought to support the people of Palestine. You cannot support charity and care about humanity and not care about what these guys are doing in Palestine. They are wiping off a nation right in front of our eyes. They want to destroy Palestine. But Palestine has no program to destroy Israel. Palestine's program is a self-determination. They are fighting for their land. They are fighting for their dignity. They are fighting for humanity. So we should pledge our support to Palestine and call for peace in the Middle East, because now Iran is going to get in. It's becoming messy. And a messy world is not good for business. All of business that cares about humanity, we must stand up and say, stop the war in Palestine, stop wiping off the Palestinians from their own land. We come from there. We got support internationally. There were marches all over to support the release of Nelson Mandela and the end of apartheid. We are direct beneficiaries of international solidarity, and therefore we cannot behave like we don't know that international solidarity can help the people of Palestine, because it helped us. So we make a plea that please support Palestine and call for peace in the Middle East.